batch 162 today. It's going to be a cherry wheat beer, and we've made it before. We always change up the recipe. We're going to call this Cherry Delight. So my water's almost up to temperature, striking water. And what we got down here is the, I'm not going to pick it up, mandatory fondling of grain. And I want to say that I brewed a cherry wheat beer, or cherry beers before 13 times, the wife says. And some of them were cherry stouts. Some were just cherry ales, pale ales. A lot of them were cherry Hefeweizens. And this is the third time I'm going to be brewing a beer called Cherry Delight. I brewed it before, only this time it has a little bit more wheat in it. We'll discuss the wheat bill shortly. Like I always do, I leave it in the video itself so you can read it. You can pause it and read the what's going into the beer. But yeah, 13 other times we've made this one, and this time we're going to be using a different. Each time was different. We did one with the cherry extract with hot peppers once. We did one with well, most of them were done with cherry puree, probably for the Vineyards company, which is a good one, Oregon company now they call them. And this time is going to be with a cherry juice by Knudsen. That's good juice. You can drink it plain. We'll put that in at the end. Boy, I'm all dusted up now. So yeah, how with this brew, we're going to dough in. We're going to look for about 152 to 154. And we're going to bring our strike water in hotter at about 163, 164, because everything is cold in here. And I found out over the years that your adjustment is about 10 to 12 degrees hotter than what you're actually shooting for. So as I look at my gauge here, I see 162, 164, and that's exactly where I want to be for this beer. We'll find out. So I'm going to turn off my gas. Always turn your gas off first, then your regulator. I was turning the wrong way to the left. So here we go. We're going to get this water flowing into the mash tun and make sure your valves are closed. That's another one, because if you don't, you're going to make a mess. There's water all over the shop floor there. So the grains are ready. We have a cup of coffee over here. My fermenting bucket is set down on the cart next to my sanitizer. I'll get all that ready later, get it sanitized. Up on the shelf, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, so you're right, would be the Cooper's beer, which has another 5-6 days to go. And behind me is the mead, which will be an orange flavored Dragon's Blood mead. All right, we're going to dough in with the Cherry Delight 3. And I just got done saying to the wife, I says, she's the stirrer here. I said, I wish I had a nickel for every time I did this. And she turns around and she says, huh, you'd have 162 nickels. And I says, because, well, per batch, yeah, that'd be about right. And then she turned around and she did the math even further. And let's see, because I'm not going to remember this crap. She says, that equals out to be in $8.40. Somewhere around there. I'm like, wow, I didn't even have $8.40. So be careful when you say you wish you had a nickel for every time you did something, because you might want to boost it up to like $10 or something, or higher. 153, 154. Yeah, say 154. This gauge is so hard to tell. I wish I had my digital. Sometimes the digital shows a little different. I guess I'll tell a little story while I sit here and get the cover on. The wife will give me the cover. This goes in the water tank. One of my first brews, when I was still brewing in the house, I think it was a honey brown beer. She's making a lot of noise over there. So the first brew I can recall I did in the house was with a honey brown, and I had a gauge from I won't say what company or what store. It was a nice digital gauge. It had a little clip, you can clip it down and whatnot, and the probe would go in really nice. And so I followed the temperature on the gauge through the brewing process. I thought I dove in at 150, this and that, then down the road, blah, blah, blah. Find the gauge is off by 20, 30 degrees, and I mean big time. Big time. We took it back to the place, and the guy said, yeah, we had a problem with these, and he gives me another one. My next brew was the same thing, but I had another. I decided to have a couple of gauges that time. So the couple of gauges saved me, showing that the new digital gauge that he gave me from the store was just as bad as the other one. It was off 20, 30 degrees. I said, nah. And that came from China. So I don't deal with that country no more. So we'll be back in about an hour at the Verloff time, and we'll get the show on the road and get the boil going. Why wouldn't I? The color's on the dark side of brown with the chocolate malt in there and the carrot red. So we're draining this to the boil kettle, and we'll put this up on the rapid boil, and we'll be brewing shortly. This is going to be a good beer, the Cherry Delight. Third time I made this one. How you doing? So while I'm waiting for the wort to come to a boil before I add my first addition of hops, I thought I'd post ask a question to people out there. Have you ever made a cherry wheat beer before? And if so, what did you use? You can leave it in the comments. Did you use cherry puree? Did you use cherry extract? Cherry juice like I'm doing today? Did you use real cherries? Any other suggestions that how you made it? It'd be interesting to find out how yours came out compared to mine. And this is like the third time I'm making this one, called Cherry Delight, out of 15 different or 13 different cherry beers I have made, being stouts and pale ales and whatnot like that. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys say, what you use and how you do it and whatnot. So leave something in the comments there, and I'll probably get back to you. Why wouldn't I? Waiting for this to boil to add our first addition of hops, which will be Citra. The boil just started. Hot break is being slow because it's probably wheat beer. Might make a difference. 1 ounce of Cascade hops are in for the 60-minute boil. So we set a timer already, and you can actually see when you put the hops in how she's gonna react with the wort and cause more of a foam. There are foaming agents you can use. I do not use them. So here we go, on with the 1 hour boil. And I will clean my mash tun out here because I use my time wisely. Last 15 minutes, it gets an ounce of Hirschbräcker hops. They're in. We get a capful of Irish moss. That's like a Werflack tablet. That's for clarity. So set a timer for 15 minutes, and we'll get the wort chiller ready, and we'll be in like Flint. Something like that. So flame out. Flame out. We're gonna get our wort chiller in here as soon as I get the hops out of here. Going backwards again now. The wort chiller is in. And cooling. Get our cover. I'm sitting here chilling, got the work chiller in, and it brought back a memory when I was watching the video. I was telling the wife that years ago I watched a video of a guy brewing, and he got done with his batch. He's starting to cool it down, and he put his work chiller in, and he's chilling, and he's doing some cleanup and stuff, and I forget the fella's name. The video might still be up there. If it's you, leave a message, and you see this, leave a message. But as he's chilling it, his work starts to overflow in the kettle, and he instantly realized that the work chiller, I did anyway, watching the video, that his work chiller had a hole in it. Apparently he left it freeze in the garage over the winter. Somehow it froze and it cracked it. So he was chilling, but chilling and filling. The poor bastard, I'll tell you what. And he's out there. Leave a message if you see this. Off to the fermenter with batch 162. Our wheat beer, our cherry wheat, which is called Cherry Surprise, or Cherry Delight. Too many names of beers. So what we're going to do here is get this in here. And I know my temperature's probably low enough, I'm going to shut my work chiller off. A lot of times I pull it out first. So we're going to add 2 32 fluid ounce Knudsen black cherry juice. So I'm going to sanitize the whole bottle. Why wouldn't I? There's 2 of them. And then we'll get a reading on it. So we got that open. In goes 1. In goes 2. They're in. I'll finish getting the word in here and then get this show on the road. So this one has some yeast energizer, comes with it. Yeast energizer. Can barely get it open. Just a little bit of it. Wow. And then our yeast of choice is WB06 by Cephal. And cut that open with scissors. And you want to get the thing over here, we're going to get a final reading. Going to pitch the yeast, find a bubbler. The yeast has been pitched. Cherry wheat is off to fermentation. Just wanted to make sure I got a bubbler ready. Kind I liked anyway. This one here. I need a towel because it's going to go on the ground. We can shut this camera off, or we'll just go with a live thing here. This is after the juice is in here.
Watch.
I'm going to rinse out the sanitizer.
That was a mess up.
So our reading before must have been wrong, where the wort was too warm, because our total reading here is 1064.
That was what I got the first time. Okay, 1064.
So 1064 with the use in there.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
She's right. And there's your airlock. So that brew's done. Well, not done. Put that away to ferment. And we'll clean up the mess here. That's the fun part.